we start with the poem 3 Paper Boats. So the poem Paper Boats is a poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. Now we all know about Rabindranath Tagore. He was an astounding poet of modern India. He reshaped Bengali literature and music, and as well as the Indian art. Rabindranath Tagore was also known as Gurudev. He won the Nobel Prize in Literature in the year 1913 for Gitanjali, which is a collection of his poems. So before we begin about the poem, let's talk about paper boats. Now, as a child, myself and all of you, when the rain comes, there's so much of running water and streams around you, you all feel like to float boats or made by paper. These are our everlasting memories of childhood. In this poem also, the poet, thinking himself as a child or as a child poet, talks about his experiences of flowing a paper boat down a stream. In this poem, the poet, as a child, imagines how he will flow the paper boats with his friends around him, how he'll send the boat and it will go all the way down the stream to some other place and land some other place. Now he's also trying to show in this poem, the poet is saying that the child also is trying to compete with other children with his boats, and he's contesting it with they are sending clouds to overturn his boats. This is showing a sort of a psychology, a peculiar psychology of the child of competition and also of hope to overcome that hurdle of those clouds coming to overturn his boats, and also the dreams he have in the night to see that his boat reaches a new land from where he has left it. So now let's read the poem and see how the poem has come about and is written by the poet. I float my paper boats one by one down the running stream. In big black letters, I write my name on them and the name of the village where I live. I hope that someone in some strange land will find them and know who I am. Now, in this poem, the poet is saying that daily he floats boats in the running stream. By writing his name and village name on the paper boats, he feels that as the boats flows, someone in some distant land will find it and know about him. So he wants to send the boat to a different land and people know that he also, like a small boy, is staying at some distant place. So he wants people to know about him. Little boats with shiuli flowers from our garden, and hope that these blooms of the dawn will be carried safely to the land in the night. Now here in these 3 lines, he's saying that the poet is imagining that he would load his boat with beautiful and fragrant shiuli flowers from his garden. Now these shiuli flowers, what are these flowers? They are called as, in Hindi, as called as parijat. They are the flowers which bloom only in the early morning. So he says that these flowers which bloom early in the morning time, I will load them into my boat, hoping that it will be carried safely to some land during the whole night as it travels. So this lines show the hope of sending his boat to some different land where people can know, since he has written his name and village name, know about him, and he's trying to send some positivity. See, the flower shows the fragrance and the beautiful flower shows the positive, let it go to a different land and the people know about it. So there is a positive feeling shown about the child poet. The boats and look up into the sky and see the little clouds setting the white bulging sails. I know not what playmate of mine in the sky sends them down the air to race with my boats. Now, in these lines, the poet is imagining himself to be a child, says that while launching my paper boats, as I look up into the sky, I see the bulging clouds. Now, what is bulging? This bulging means full of water. Now, he says that when I look up and I'm putting my boats into the water and I look up, I see these bulging clouds. And the poet is imagining that he has a playmate in the sky who is sending these clouds down the air in the sky to race with his boats. So this shows that he has a feeling of playfulness in him and also a competition. So he wants a playmate to play around with him and also be in a competition with him to see how he's trying to overturn his boat by sending these, imagining those white bulging sails to be the big clouds trying to come and hinder his boats when they are floating. So this is how the imagination of the poet is shown in these lines. The last lines. When night comes, I bury my face in my arms and dream that my paper boats float on and on under the midnight stars. The fairies of sleep are sailing in them, and the lading ins their baskets full of dreams. By Rabindranath Tagore. So now, the last 4-5 lines, what does he say? Here the poet is saying that at night he sees dreams. And what does he dream about? His paper boats. In the dream, he sees that his boats are floating and under the night of the sky, which are full of stars. Who are sailing in his boats? The fairies of sleep. The poet imagines in his dreams that the fairies or the angels of sleep sail in his boats, carrying the basket of dreams, the full of dreams he sees. This shows the keen interest. What is this showing? So these lines are showing the keen interest of the child's mind and his creative and playful mind. So he's dreaming, and the dreams also he sees those boats, and he sees that the angels of sleep are are floating in the boats, and what are they carrying with them? Full of dreams of hope, positiveness, and a feeling to reach a new land with full of these dreams.